All right, welcome to M.O.B Media presents Behind the Mic. This is our first episode. This is an idea that we've been trying to do for a long minute. Now that I got the time and resources, got my first special guest, Texxx PeSci the Storm. This man, if you've been to a show locally or even in any surrounding areas, chances are you've seen him rock that stage. He's one of the very few artists that will go up there and not rap over his own vocals. Kind of taking it back to the true element of hip hop, where that's really how performances are always done. Big props to Texxx PeSci, something that I don't know if I'll ever get to do myself, but it is what it is, and let's go on and get into this. So Texxx PeSci, let's go on and introduce yourself,
Texxx PeSci the Storm, West Texas represent, 432. It's go time, man. Good thing to be here with my boy, M.O.B Media, Joey Troublesome, AKA, So, yeah, man, that's me, Texxx PeSci the Storm.
So tell us, where does Texxx PeSci come from? Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised here in Midland, Texas, man, off Estes in the east side. That's where I was, that's where everything originated from, man. The streets on the east side, man. From Estes, Parker Block, all the little areas, little hoods around there, man. I've lived in El Paso, I've lived in Houston,
okay.
Different areas around New Mexico, but, for the most part, this is my home.
Okay. So you bounce around, quite a bit still.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Midland, Texas is home, Moneyland, whatever everyone wants to call it. We got a lot of aliases,
The flatland, the square.
And it's just everyone knows it by all our aliases. So we can, whatever name we choose to mention, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Now, I've been seeing you recently. You've added the Storm.
Yeah.
To your name, Texxx PeSci the Storm.
Yeah.
You want to tell, I know me and you had a discussion. You kind of gave me a little bit of insight, the Storm piece of who Texxx PeSci is.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on the Storm part of that?
Yeah, and the Storm, to me, that just comes from the darkness. It's the darkness that I bring to the table, whether it's through my music or things that I share on social media or whatever. There's a lot that comes from it. Because I was a path of destruction. That's one thing that I was. I have a track, titled "Path of Destruction." It's gonna be on my Burning Hell Volume 2 mixtape, which will come out next year. It'll be a free mixtape. But yeah, that's where it comes from, man. Just the way I grew up. I come from the poverty, man. I came from the ghetto, single mother. My father, I really wasn't around, and he had his problems. My mom had her problems. My Storm was gang banging, selling dope, and getting out there doing fucked up shit. But that's where the Storm comes along, and not just that Storm, but where the path from my grandfather and my mom's, and now it's me. But I no longer really live a fucked up type of life. I don't really go out there. I ain't out there robbing people no more, or selling dope to people, or some of the shit I used to do. But that's still always going to be a part of me, man, because that played a long part of my life for just up until a couple years ago when I got out of prison and shit.
So would you say that your music now truly reflects the Storm part of, because I've heard a bunch of your tracks. You can do just about anything, whether it's the dark stuff, whether it's what everyone else is doing, not the Young Thug bullshit, but you know what I'm saying, your basic topics, and then, if you want to have that radio hit, you can make that happen as well.
Yeah.
Which is, I got a lot of respect for any artist that can pretty much adjust and adapt without selling themselves short or selling out, basically. One thing I'd like for you to touch on, because I felt it was I didn't realize how dark a path you had gone and the type of shit you really had gone through, because with you saying you came from poverty and whatnot, that alone doesn't do you justice. Without elaborating a little more on that. Now, from what I gathered when you had our discussion, a big part of your destruction, might even say the origin of your destruction, could have been your relationship with your mother.
Yeah, man.
You wanna touch on that a little bit, and
Yeah.
You don't have to go into so much detail, just so that people understand that.
Yeah, because it's hard to talk about my mom and her see it. She doesn't trip out, but she's like, why do you tell people this and that? But for most part, man, is my mom. She was a abandoned kid, man, left out in Mexico. My great grandparents brought her here, raised her. So she was always pretty much the run of the litter, I guess you could say, the black sheep, I had to deal with that growing up, always seen that growing up, man. So as a kid and as a person like me, even then, my mentality, I always paid attention to everything. I paid attention to detail. I'll pay attention to the way somebody treats me, and vice versa. I try to do the same. So I try to, treat people well. Just even then, though, they treat you fucked up, but just seeing my mom go through what she, drug addiction, going through, drinking and all this and that, the drugs, the living in the dope houses, and being the kid that comes from that. A lot of these people, it trips me out that they don't even come from that, but they try to go into that type of lifestyle, not really knowing what it does to somebody, not especially somebody like me that if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it all the way. I'm not gonna half-ass it. So whenever I started gangbanging, I gangbanged all the way, and whenever I sold dope, I did that all the way. Whatever it was, I went all the way with it. But to have my mom have to see me like that, it sucked. But at the same time, I felt like it was something that I had no choice at, because I started gangbanging, selling dope at least around 12, 13, and
so you were truly a product of your environment.
Yeah,
a true product. It wasn't something that something that's common in the music scene, hip hop scene.
Yeah, nowadays you'll see cats. I mean, it trips me out because you see cats, they come from somewhere else and then they go to the neighborhood. Next thing you know, they're into something that they can't get out of no more.
Well, just the whole talk of the gangbanging and whatnot. Kind of brings me to an interesting topic where this is even happening on, big celebrity status, on that scale, where you have your artists like Chris Brown. He's a prime example, unfortunately. Great music, but he's now gangbanging.
Yeah.
He was never a gangbanger, but now that he's at the status that he is, celebrity that he is today, he's now gangbanging.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk. There is a lot of talk that he's paying to be associated with them, but whether that's true or not, who are we to really, really confirm or deny that that's really what's happening? It's the reality of things. Some people are trying to live the lifestyle after they've made it, or just because they've decided that they want to do music, they want to portray the lifestyle that they're really not about.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? The whole backwards of the whole situation is backwards.
I think it's fucked up, man. I mean, for one of the main reasons, man, is because I got friends doing life in prison. I got friends that are been locked up for 15, 20 years. My brother's locked up right now. But that one's drug related, but still, it's a life we were pretty much conditioned to. So we didn't really. It's like we kind of knew better, but it was hard to steer from that, that direction. And especially when you're a child, 12, 13 years old, and you're given one thing. And even then, before that, the gangs have always been there in the neighborhoods we come from. They're there. Yeah. And then so to see people come from back whenever I was younger, I remember seeing people come in. We welcomed them, but if they started acting a different way, you don't come around no more.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's like people embrace that. If if you come from somewhere else and you got money, as long as you got money, you can kick it with whoever. But it's like, man, I respect anybody, as long as they're them. If somebody's not themselves, I can't really respect that. And especially with the music people, because what they don't understand is the music gives us a voice to speak for people, to people, and I can't let Drake, I can't let Young Thug, I can't let these cats speak for me because they're in a whole different mind frame than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like me, I've always been PeSci. I've always been this D-Life. I've always been me. So I wouldn't know what it's like to be somebody else and then transform into Texxx PeSci. You know what I mean? Like that. I changed my name from D-Life to Texxx PeSci, but I didn't change who I am. So it's like the only part of me I tried to change was bettering myself, not sit there and fuck myself off and try to get into.
So the whole D-Life,
I shouldn't be into.
the whole D-Life name used to be your original rap name, or was it even your?
That was actually. I mean, that wasn't my rap name really. I mean, it was a name that was given to me from the homeboy Carly out of H-Town. When I lived in Houston, man, one of my homeboys, he gave me that name, D-Life, and I ran with it. I switched it up. Maybe I say about 5 years ago, I switched it up and started doing the Texxx PeSci thing. I just wanted to steer from the D-Life because it was. I mean, I've been involved in some fucked up shit, so I was like, man, I need to kind of distance myself from that negativity.
Kind of like a new breath of fresh air, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna try this way. And I was just like, man, I'm gonna give myself a name, something that fits me. And Texxx PeSci. When I came up with that, it was, I looked it up, Googled who, made sure there wasn't nobody with that name and this and that, and here it is.
And why Texxx PeSci though?
Texas, man. Texx, the T triple X, because it's Texas, hardcore Texas, with the triple X's.
Gotcha.
But it's not triple X's as in fucking, it's triple X's in hardcore, my expertise to expire your existence. And then PeSci is like Goodfellas, because one of my favorite movies is Goodfellas, Casino, Joe Pesci, either whether it's on that or Home Alone, Joe Pesci has always been one of my favorite actors, growing up. My cousin Vinny, stuff like that. Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Those movies, I grew up to those movies, and Joe Pesci always kind of stood out to me. But the PeSci comes from him, how he would do his thing whenever he was, in that gangster mentality. He did whatever. So that's what I am with the music. I'm PeSci because I do whatever the fuck I want to do with my music. Yeah. Nobody can tell me, oh, you need to do this song. You got to do this type of song. It's like I can do whatever type of song. Yeah. Some of the songs I don't really have is love songs, but it's like I have some written. I've written one recently, but it's like I can't write what I don't know, but
yeah.
So
life's changing,
Yeah, life's changing though, so that's why I got one now. So
that's what's up, man.
But I'm just see whenever I will release it or when I do shit like that.
Yeah. Back to your upbringing and everything.
Yeah.
Would it be safe to say that growing up, you were kind of deprived of actually being a kid?
Yeah, man.
From what I could gather, you basically had to grow up and live for yourself.
Yeah, there's one thing I could tell you. One story was I was a kid, man. When I was going to school in Crockett, in the East Side, and my mom went to jail. This was before she went to prison, and my brother, he was always with my great grandparents, and my sister was with her grandparents. Well, they came and picked them up from school, and me, well, I don't know why. I never even asked why was I left at home, or why was I just left. But when I got out of school, my sister and brother were gone. You know what I mean? So somebody had already picked them up, and I didn't know that till I went home, and people from the next door, the neighbors, they were telling me, hey, they came and got them, and why didn't they get you? And I was like, I wanted to cry, but part of me was like, fuck it, if they didn't get me, well, fuck it. But deep down, it was like, it hurt.
Yeah.
So the people that took care of me for about a week was myself and, a few of the people from the block that at that time we lived on Parker Street, right down the street, from Smitty's and off La Mesa Road. But Yeah, man. And I grew up around a lot of black folks. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up around too many Spanish people, Mexicans, or whatever. You know, and so that's who took me in, man. They, hey, man, come to the crib, come chill with us, or come eat. And I'd be like, nah, I'm waiting for my mom. I want to wait for my mom. Wait till she gets home. And so they bring me food, or I'd go play at night, and then I'd go home. I'd sleep by myself. Yeah. And at home, no adult in the house. I was probably about 10 years old, man. Okay. And just little things like that. It kind of grew. That's what created that storm inside of me. The anger, the hate, the emotion, to where it's like, fuck everything. Where I just kind of didn't have no kind of passion for nobody. I had passion for music, and that's one thing I think people don't notice is what I say about when music speaks to a lot of people, because I grew up on Tupac a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I listened to a lot of Tupac growing up, especially the way I grew up, because I understood it. You know, it was just a fucking blueprint to everything I was going through as a child, and that's one artist that whenever I would be alone or whenever I couldn't stand some of the fucking things I was seeing or going through, I would put the headphones on. I didn't have a pops. I didn't have people that I trusted. I didn't trust people, because people left me alone. People abandoned me. So why the fuck am I gonna trust somebody to talk to? I don't trust people. So I trusted my music. And that's one thing I want people to know, is that even if it's a party track or whatever, you can trust my music. You know what I mean? But the music I do want people to, whenever I do put it out, it's like the Burning Hells, Growing Cold, stuff like that. Trust that I tell you the truth. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you something about me that's falsified. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just not me.
Now, could you say that your music is for everybody, or is it only gonna touch a certain few?
No, I mean, my music is for, I could say it's for everybody, you know what I mean? As long as you're feeling it, it's for you, because I don't aim towards a certain group of people. Mm-hmm. I don't aim towards a certain race, or say a certain, I put it out there. Like I said, it's PeSci, man. I'm going to do me. Yeah. I put it out there. If you like it, you do. If you don't, well, hey, I don't know. I can't force nobody no music, but so really I think it's for everybody.
The reason why I asked that is the mistake that as artists we make sometimes is we decide we want to cater to just a certain crowd instead of trying to cater to everybody, myself included. When I first started this music thing, I targeted the ladies, thinking, hey, that's music is mainly bought by females. Yeah. And that was my thinking. And when I first did that, to me, I felt like I cut myself short, because there was so much other kind of music that I could have made.
You know what thing I could tell you though? I had made a song whenever I came back from Houston, and my little brother, rest in peace, Money Mancha, but he picked out a beat where we picked out each other's beats. We kind of challenged each other. He challenged me with a beat, and this was in Odessa. We recorded with some of the cats from Out the Trunk. I think that's back in the day. Yeah, back in the day. That was back in the day, and we got a beat from one of the cats from there, and it was a fast beat. It was called Psycho Insane, and I was just chopping it up and did some quick shit on it, and we had like a one love song or two songs for the females, but they like that Psycho Insane one more than they like the actual female. So it's like you can't really. Some people, they look like this may be you. Yeah. But like they say, can't judge a book by its cover. So my girl, I have like now she likes for the past couple of days she's been listening to Isham. I don't know if you ever heard of Isham. He's from Detroit, horrorcore. Acid rap, shit like that, and brother Lynch. Yeah, Brother Lynch. Well, I got her onto like that, Brother Lynch. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what we see. That's what I grew up to when I was younger, banging and stuff. So that's the type of music that was in my shit. Whenever Yuck Mouth, MC3, Dayton Family, Spice One, Scarface, all that shit.
Even to the hardcore rap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be into the hardcore rap. Like on and off, but my music has never reflected that, Yeah. If you put any hardcore track against my tracks, my tracks sound soft, you know, really soft compared to this, you know. But nonetheless, in some shape, way, or form, then a hardcore track could still inspire me to make one of my tracks in some way, you know. So I mean, no matter what kind of music I make, Texas music, for example, I love Texas music.
Yeah.
But you don't see me doing all the Texas shit and sound like a Houston artist or and trying to imitate that sound.
And that's like and you speaking on that, man. That's why I got a song called "Still Texas." It's on the Burning Hill mixtape, and the reason I put that song is because, you know, it's like no matter whatever I'm doing, whatever it is, whatever you tell me, because I don't rap with the slow style, or I don't sit there and talk about lean and this and that. Man, I love DJ Screw shit. Man, that's all I used to listen to when I was younger. DJ Screw and, you know, Trey, Zero, all that. Paul Wall, Lil Kiki, you know.
And those are pioneers,
I like the originality that they came with, though, because if you listen to Paul Wall, he says shit that other people won't say.
Yeah.
But then you'll come to another region of Texas and they'll be doing the same thing, but they're saying exactly what he's saying. You know what I mean? So it's like, just, okay, you can keep that style, but be original. I got GT Garza's CD. I had copped it the other day. Shout out to GT Garza. And I was listening to it, and he has that kind of that trap style that a lot of cats are doing. And it's like, but his is different, man. He has lyrics to it. You know what I mean? So you can actually listen to it and hear shit. You can understand what the fuck he's saying.
It's almost like creating a new genre, lyrical trap music.
Yeah, yeah, man. Because it's like you can't. It's like, man, you can't. They sit there and they do the same shit that everybody else is doing. It's like, okay, it's cool. Okay, if you're gonna do that, then at least set yourself apart by setting a different bar in that lane. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go into that lane, put a speed bump in that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like I said, but as a Texas thing, that's why I say Texx. You know, Texx PeSci, because Texx is TEXXX, the triple, and that's one thing I tell people. You know, whenever I get booked for shows, it's like, that third X means a lot.
Yeah.
That's my name. That's my brand, and this is, that's what it represents, hardcore Texas, and no matter what, I'm still Texas. So that's what that track represents. I'm still Texas, no matter if my style is dark, if it got so much pain, if I don't rap about lean and all that shit, gold teeth all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And, that's what. This is who I am. This is who I represent. I represent West Texas. I represent Texas as a whole. So.
Now, let's fast forward a little bit.
All right.
Texxx PeSci today. How is Texxx PeSci today?
Good.
Mind frame, everything, you said that you kind of...
I think I work too damn much.
Is it? Yeah, I think we all do, But,
not all of us.
Well, not all of us. At least me and you, we work a lot, But, do you feel like I guess what I'm trying to ask, do you feel like you're in a better place today?
Yeah, man.
In all aspects of your life.
Yeah. I do, man, because for a while there, and then like I tell people, man, from where I was last year, I'm in a way different place, whether it be financially, mentally, whatever. And for the reason being, man, is because I didn't set myself up here, man. I knew where I was at, and I was down here. Mm-hmm. And when they say, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
But some people, they try to put themselves up here already. So whenever you're actually down here and you put your mentality up here, there's nowhere to go but down.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's one thing that I try to get to people, man. If you're down here, be down here and work up. Don't be up here and fall your fucking ass down and shit, skydiving, but no parachute. But that's one thing that I know is I know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I tell people that, people are like, oh well, everybody thinks they know themselves, but you don't know yourself until you accept where you're at.
To me, I think the biggest thing is, and I'm glad you mentioned, it's almost like kind of know your place and work to where you want to be.
Play your position.
The biggest mistake that a lot of people make is they mistake egos for their placement and where they really are. There's nothing wrong with being confident, but there's a very thin line between overconfidence and having a massive ego.
Yeah.
I mean, music, in a sense, it's a competition sometimes, but it doesn't mean that there has to be division there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
at all.
you know,
And that's why like my next project, the Good Fella thing, you know, it sucks to see that some of the people that I do have on the fucking CD itself, you know, that I have and on that project are kind of, you know, at each other a little bit here and there, and it's like, man, but you know, me personally, I stay out of it. You know, I have my little, you know, personal problems with a few people, but for the, you know, and as a whole, you know, I really do want the motherfuckers that here that are doing good business, that are actually moving to come together, and that's why I put a Good Fella thing. It was gonna be La Pura Verita, the pure truth, but I was like, nah, you know what? Because I'm doing this a collaboration thing. You know, I got a lot of people on it, so it's La Familia, you know, the family, a Good Fella thing, the family. Because at the end of the day, you know, even if people don't look at me as family, or wouldn't cut for me the same I would cut for them, that's not my problem. You know, I know where I stand. I know what I'm you know, where I'm gonna leave at the end of the day, and that's with a good heart, you know. So that's why I tried to get so many features on this. It's not because I couldn't knock out the whole track. It's because I wanted people to, you know, see West Texas for what we are. And there's a lot of good talent out here, but a lot of the good talent goes back to what we were talking about just a while ago, is people being up here when they're really down here. And, you know, it's always good to work your way up, man. It's just because if you don't, one thing about people, man, is if whenever they think they're up here, that's where they're gonna always stay at. You know, me, you can see my progress, man, and it's good. I like for myself to see my own progress. You know, I like to see progress in other people. I don't like to see somebody, especially on Facebook or here and there, you know, social media is a motherfucker. But you'll see somebody constantly, you know, posting up here, and you know where they're really at. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, the thing with social media, it's given the voiceless a voice. It's a platform for.
What's that shit called when they do it? Tracheotomy or something.
Yeah, tracheotomy or something.
Yeah, some of the motherfuckers need a tracheotomy on their Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean, you know, fortunately, that's just one of the downfalls. But with the existence of social media now we're able, me and you were able to have met because of, you know.
Yep.
I mean, it's possible that we could have met at a show or whatever, but you wouldn't have been able to see the kind of work that I've done, the kind of stuff that I can offer you, and vice versa. And you know, it's another avenue for sales.
Yeah,
you know, we can, you know, I'm able to sell records overseas easily. You know. Plain and simple, the music is just more accessible now. You know,
that, I mean, and just getting together, like you said, like, you know, meeting good people, man. A lot of people are always like, you know, I see people on you know, whatever social media just bashing, you know, other artists, this and that, and I'm like, man, y'all don't even know what's at your hands right now, man, because you got the world actually right there in the damn phone. Yeah. You know, in your hands, and you know, I met good people like. Away from Cali, 27 Junkies, you know, he's seen a 15-second clip of my Instagram track, and I had a track on Instagram, just a 15-second clip, and it was next thing you know, he's hitting me up, and I'm doing a track for somebody, for a homie in Cali, you know what I mean? Then he hooked me up with Mateo, and then you know, at the end of the day, as long as if you use it for positivity, there's something positive that come out of it. If you sit there and use it just to bash people, well, shit. I bashed Donald Trump on that motherfucker though. Fuck that.
Yeah. Fuck Donald Trump. You know. PeSci for president, maybe. Maybe 20, you know, whatever. Next run, sure it's not gonna be this year. You got to prep for that campaign run, you know, get the funds right, you know.